but they are from Michelle's Bakery. So you get to sample the new bakery, the new business in town. Yes, sir.
I forgot one other thing. The trash pickup scheduled for the Thursday, the week of Thanksgiving, the day of Thanksgiving. It won't be held on Thursday. It will be held on Wednesday, the 23rd.
And we'll get some flyers made for that so we can.
Flyers, it'll be on the website. It will be on the water bill. It'll be on our display sign as you come into town, and we'll also run it in the paper as well.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you very much. Oh, yes, sir?
I'm sorry, I missed what you said, the toxic waste pickup.
The hazardous waste. The next one, you just missed the one this past weekend. It's November 5th. It's always the first Saturday of the month. So November, excuse me?
Where?
It's at Audie Lane in off of Radio Station Road at the Department of Public Works. Anybody? And there's flyers for everything back on the back there, on the back table.
Thank you, Karen. Next will be the community policing report.
Good evening, everybody. This evening I want to talk about, we got Halloween coming up, my favorite holiday, trick-or-treating. I want to go over some safety tips for everybody here, even if you don't have small children that's going to be out trick-or-treating. Some stuff you can do to, one, keep an eye on your own property as well as your fellow citizens and neighbors that are going to be out in the street on that night. For your small children, keep in mind, if they have they're going as a ghost or ghoul, they're wearing dark costumes, try to have something that they can illuminate themselves with, maybe a bright colored jacket they can wear, or some kind of fluorescent material, or a flashlight. If they're going to be out, in and out of cars, coming out in the street, it's a good idea to make sure that they're seen. Not everybody's watching out for them like you guys would be. You got to try to do the best thing we can to make them safe. Some of the stuff is common sense. If you have little ones going out trick-or-treating, please make sure somebody's going out with them. Don't just send a group of 5 out and they'll watch themselves. It's not a good idea. Make sure some kind of adult or responsible party is with every group that goes out. Even if it's just down your street, at least be outside, keeping an eye on what your child's up to and making sure they're safe. And make sure you stress on the candy issue. I know it's hard to do. I can't do it myself sometimes. But wait till you get home to eat anything. Make sure it's checked thoroughly. Even if it's a small tear or anything like that, throw it away. Don't put it, it's not worth the risk. As far as your own property, if you're not participating in trick-or-treating or you don't have little ones going out, you're not, even if you don't have anybody that you're going to out trick-or-treating, keep an eye on, your citizens and your fellow neighbors out. If there's a group of obviously too old to be out trick-or-treating and walking around amongst the small kids, you need to give us a call at the sheriff's office. Let us come out and see what these guys are up to. They might be as innocent as helping, younger brothers and sisters, but we need to make sure that's the case and not up to anything that's, taking advantage of the smaller child. But also with your property, it's a Halloween night, trick-or-treat. If, the tricks come out, don't leave pumpkins out in your front yard after, trick-or-treating is done. Don't leave stuff that can turn into a mess the next morning. Try to make it easier on yourself. Just small stuff to think about like that. I don't have any major issues to report for the town at the moment. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask now, I can answer them, or I'll be available after the meeting to answer individually and privately if you have any questions. Thank you. Yes, sir. Anything close to the town? Well, Bryan's Road, I can be here all night if you want to talk about Bryan's Road. But there's been some burglary activity in Bryan's Road, daytime activity. Nothing extremely recently. Most of that has been being currently investigated. The issue that was down in the town, that a suspect has been developed, and that, like I spoke last meeting, that individual is being charged with those burglaries. Yes, sir.
December 14th, between 9:40 and 9:50 p.m. A series of explosions occurred in the area. Shook houses in Bryan's Road, traveled our route here on Natalie Avenue. People heard it in Brandywine and Alpena. People called the sheriff's department to report it. The sheriff's department said that they were sending people to investigate. But never have I heard anything on what it was during the
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I've caught wind of this incident as well. Several people have been talking about it. There, evidently, across the river here, there was a substantial fireworks show that evening. We got calls for noise and sound of gunshots, the whole 9 yards. People were saying things were blowing up and everything else, all the way up to up in Hawthorne, that area, all the way up to the outskirts of La Plata. Come to find out, that was the case. Across the river, there was a very large fireworks display, which was causing a lot of that noise and the rattling of the windows. To my knowledge, that's the only thing we've come up with to explain that incident.
I worked with saying that once you experience the fireworks international program,
Mm-hmm.
you can place it up.
Okay.
I also, for you, you're
Yes, sir. I understand. But to my knowledge, it was the fireworks. If it was anything other than that, we as a sheriff's office would have definitely, not found out that evening, we would have come across it by now, as far as any kind of explosion or anything like that. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. I can't answer that. I was not working at that time. If it's something, major, I get forward as a community police officer. Anything substantial, like a burglary or an assault with a weapon or anything like that, I get forward that information, and I would be able to answer that to you. It must not have been anything of a dramatic nature.
September 8th, at
Mhm.
Clinical response unit from basic Ryan, Mike Clarence, escorted by several police cars. Obviously, that took September 11th.
Drew your attention. Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, but you never heard anything about that.
I believe presidential speech. Okay. They go. Any others? All right. Well, thank you, Fire Chief and Karen. Appreciate that. All right. I'll be available afterwards.
Thank you. Briefings, we have none. Resolution, presentations and recognitions, none. Resolutions, we have a resolution this evening to appoint a new member to the Planning Commission. Nawalda, would you read the resolution?
Resolution number 10-01-11, introduced by Mayor and Council. Date introduced October 3rd, 2011. A resolution appointing a member and establishing his respective term of office to the Indian Head Planning Commission for a 2-year term. Whereas the following member has expressed a desire to serve as a member of the Indian Head Planning Commission, and whereas Chapter 3, Article 4, Section 3-24B of the Code of the Town of Indian Head empowers the Town Council of Indian Head to make appointments to the Indian Head Planning Commission. Now therefore be it hereby resolved by the Town Council of Indian Head, Maryland, that Section 1, the following individual is hereby appointed to the Indian Head Planning Commission for a 2-year term of office as noted below. Mr. Thomas N. Blake Sr. of 206 Bertha Circle, term expiration date October 2013. Section 2, be it further resolved that all resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith be and the same are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict. Section 3, this resolution shall be in full force and effective on the third day of October 2011.
Thank you, Waldo. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second? Any further discussion? We have a number of vacancies on the Planning Commission. This will fill one of the vacancies. If there is anybody else that would like to serve on the Planning Commission, please submit a letter of interest. And we have room for additional members. All those in favor of approving the resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution is approved and will be effective this evening, October 3rd, 2011. Next, we have an ordinance on the agenda tonight. Ordinance number 09-001-11. An ordinance concerning new ethics ordinance for the town of Indian Head to comply with requirements of Maryland law. Before we consider a motion to adopt the ordinance, legal counsel has advised us that we need to add the members of the Economic Development Commission to the ordinance. So in that respect, I move that the proposed ordinance 09-01-11 be amended by adding a line 6 stated as follows: open parentheses 6, close parentheses, members of the Economic Development Commission, close parentheses. Add that line to section 15-6A immediately following line 5, stating members of the Ethics Commission. I move that the proposed ordinance, I just moved that.
Yeah, I second. I second the move and the second move.
Any questions on the amendment before we adopt it or approve the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to amend the ordinance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The proposed ordinance is amended.
I now move that ordinance 09-01-1, the amended ordinance, be approved.
Second. Are there any questions on the new ethics ordinance or the proposed new ethics ordinance for the town of Indian Head? Seeing none, Wilda, will you call the roll?
Vice Mayor Rice,
Yes.
Mayor Chesley,
Yes. The ayes have it. The ordinance is adopted. It will become effective October 23rd, 2011. Petitions, we have none this evening. Unfinished business, none. New business, none. Next on the agenda is miscellaneous. We'll read the announcement of upcoming meetings, and then we will open the floor for citizens' comments. The Community Activities Committee meeting will be held on Tuesday, October 11th at 7 p.m. in the Senior Community Center front room. Indian Head Volunteer Fire Department and Rescue Squad Annual Fire Prevention Open House will be held on Saturday, October 15th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Indian Head Firehouse. The 6th Annual Breast Cancer Fitness Walk will be held on Saturday, October 15th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. At the Village Green Pavilion and Trail. Is there a luncheon associated with that? Okay, so that's the 6th Annual Breast Cancer Fitness Walk and luncheon, I guess. It said 7 luncheon on here, so I wasn't sure. 5th Annual Indian Head Car Show, Karen covered that. The Planning Commission will be meeting on Tuesday, October 18th at 7 p.m. here in the Village Green Pavilion. Town Council work session will be held on Monday, October 24th at 1:00 p.m. in the Town Hall. That work session has been moved from the normal last Monday of the month, which would have been October 31st, to the preceding Monday, October 24th. Halloween on the Village Green will be held on Monday, October 31st from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the Village Green Pavilion and Park. Halloween trick-or-treat door-to-door throughout town will be held on Monday, October 31st from 6 till 8 p.m. End of daylight savings time is on Sunday, November 6th. The next town meeting will be held on Monday, November 7th at 7:30 p.m. here in the Village Green Pavilion. As Karen mentioned earlier, the Veterans Day ceremony and luncheon will be held on Friday, November 11th at 11:00 a.m. in the Village Green Pavilion. This time, the floor is open for citizens' comments. Anybody wishing to make a comment or address the council?
Good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Kelly. I work for Recreation for the county. I run Smallwood and Henson Community Centers here. Just to remind you, a couple programs we got coming up. We are in the middle of our basketball and soccer sign-up season. Right now, the price is $65 if you sign up before October 15th. After that, it goes up to $80. So if you're interested in that, there's some guides in the back of the room for you guys. Also, Zumba. We're holding our Zumba class. That starts tomorrow night at Smallwood from 7 to 8. The cost for that is $35. Runs for 5 weeks, and it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We also have a class, wrestling clinic for beginners. That's run by Smallwood Community Center, but it's being held at Lackey High School. That runs from October 22nd to November 19th, 5 Saturdays. That cost of that is $15. You have Glenn Jones from Lackey and also the current Lackey wrestling coach teaching that for us. Like I said, these flyers are in the back of the room. A couple guides are back there. If you guys have any questions, just see me after the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim, would you come up to the microphone, please? And state your name for the record.
My name is Jim Hudnall, and I'm here on behalf of the Oxon Hill Bicycle and Trail Club. Yesterday, in spite of it being a rather cold, damp day, we had our Indian Head 100 bicycle ride. It had been postponed from September 11th because then the roads were just in terrible shape after all the rain and floods. Karen said she thought about 500 cyclists. I wish that were right, Karen. Cold, wet. We only had 332 cyclists, which still is very good for a day like yesterday. We had hoped to have 600, maybe 700 cyclists. We had 400 register in advance. 200 of those slept in and didn't come ride the bikes yesterday. But they'll be back to ride because this is a great place to ride a bike. And that's why I think it's wonderful that you have the town initiative to become a trail town. It was wonderful to drive in yesterday and see the big sign that said, "Bicyclists welcome." Now, cyclists appreciate that. They'll appreciate the bike racks that you're having the businesses put in. And make sure you put in the type that most cyclists like, which is very simple inverted U racks, not the fancy ribbon racks or ladder racks, wheel windows.
Those are the ones we've
Simple
ordered.
Inverted U.
They're fairly cheap too, by the way.
They're the cheapest way to go, and they are the most efficient, best ways. I'm glad to hear you're doing it that way. But these cyclists yesterday left here. Those doing a short ride left on the trail. Most of them left on Strauss. They wanted to move fast because some of them were riding 100 miles. It's called a century in bicycle lingo. And that took them all the way down to Riverside and then back over to Chapel Point, Bill Alton, and that area and back. This year's picture on our T-shirt is cyclists trying to make it up a hill at Chapel Point towards St. Ignatius. And I have T-shirts to give the town council and to Karen. And Karen, I really appreciate you being here in spite of all that rain yesterday morning, having tables waiting for us out front for registration. We had our picnic in the picnic area, and it was really a great day, and cyclists really enjoyed it. And cyclists will enjoy coming here. So I'm looking forward to it being a great village town, trail village, trail town. I do have a check for Karen.
Let's clarify.
It's not for Karen, it's for the town, but Karen's the one that uses it, and she uses it for projects that benefit the town and benefit cyclists that come to town. Also, since we had originally scheduled to have our event on September the 11th, the 10th anniversary of 9/11, we wanted a lot of our proceeds to go to benefit first responder units in Southern Maryland. So we'll be giving checks to the different fire departments. And if the chief will come forward, I have a check for the Indian Head Fire Department.
Do you know offhand how many people rode the 100-mile loop?
Well over 150, I believe, checked in at Riverside. That's why they came, to ride through Southern Maryland, Dangermore Peninsula, see all this wonderful area you have for cycling in. So thank you very much, and we'd like to be back again next year, September the 9th. And maybe then we won't have hurricanes, earthquakes, and floods.
There's another person coming up.
Good evening. My name is Maria Johnson. I live at 301 Bland Drive in Indian Head. I've lived there over 30-some years. I've lived in the town of Indian Head my whole life, and I love this town. So my question is this, Mr. Mayor and Town Manager, Mr. Hicks. The night of September the 8th, the night of the horrendous rainstorm, something happened at the sewage plant. I don't really know exactly what happened, but I live on Bland Drive, I really feel that whatever happened there that night probably affected myself and some other people that live on that street. You said in one of your reports that you all had spent $20,000 correcting a problem over on Jennifer. And I'm not trying to get anything over on the town of Indian Head, believe me. Pay my taxes, always have, always will. But I've spent a whole lot of money based on what happened to me that night. And I've been trying to get some information, and it's pretty hard to get it. Can you tell me what happened that night at the sewage plant? Could it have affected what happened to all the water that normally does not come? I mean, I know it rained, but there was a beaucoup amount of water that night in that street that had nowhere to go, and I really feel like it affected some of us who live on Bland Drive that night.
Correct. And we put your insurance request through. Have you heard back from the insurance company?
Yeah, but getting information is like, I'm getting the runaround. I'm getting some people who tell me that the town of Indian Head should have told me to call FEMA. No, that's what I'm telling you, it's like a big secret. It's like hush, hush. And it's like the insurance gentleman called me and said, "What's up?" That's all he said to me, "What's up?" Okay. And I had to do all the talking, and I thought that was your job, sir.
Absolutely. We gave him all the information you gave us on the
And then when he
form
called
you filled out.
me, he said to me, "What's up?" That's all he ever said to me, and I gave him all the information, and it's like...
Do you have his information? Because first and foremost, he
yes, I
shouldn't be
do.
coming to you to start a conversation with, "What's up?"
He said to me, "What's up?" And I was like, is it my responsibility to do the investigation? Because if it is, believe me, I can.
Absolutely not. It should have been him. He should have done everything. Any phone calls he had, he should have called here. He should have called our public works supervisor, and he should have called our wastewater treatment plant operator. So
That's why I'm saying it's like I'm getting, and I don't know what to do. I called the county government, and they're the ones who told me that the town should have told me to call FEMA. and I don't know what to do. And I will do what I'm supposed to do, but I don't know what to do. And I don't want to be left out in the cold because I'm not doing the right procedures, but I'm really not sure where to turn. I'll be honest with you.
If you could give me who you spoke to at Legit, then I'll take it from there and I'll keep you in the loop because
Okay.
for
Thank
one,
you
he
very
shouldn't have said, "What's up?" For
That's
two, he should have
exactly
just
what
followed the appropriate channels to see exactly what took place that day. All it is a simple phone call to us, and we would have gave him all the information.
It was the strangest phone call I've ever had in my. I was like, it was like a secret, and then I was like, and he didn't
They're
tell me
such a huge
anything.
company. I cannot believe that's how they talk
He
to
told me
citizens.
who he was. He did said,
If
"This
you
is
give
my
me his
name, and
information-
this is the organization that I represent," and then I told him everything I knew. That was it.
Right, and he should have
said,
called
"I'll
us and
look
got
into it."
everything we knew as well.
I said, "I'll look into it."
And you haven't heard back to him?
No, sir.
When was your last communication with him?
I've only had one.
When was your only communication with him? I'm sorry for laughing, but I just can't believe that's how he tried to handle it.
I would have to look at the calendar, but I can tell you. I mean, I have it all written down.
Okay, if you'll just give me that information.
And I'm not the only one that's having the problem, just so you know. I mean, it affected one other neighbor greatly, so should I tell them to get in touch with you also?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you for your time,
Welcome,
everyone.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Immediately
That's the
after.
neighbor.
Okay. On September 8th, when we got 15 inches of rain, the water that was discharging from the plant stopped and tunneled. Instead of going out the pipe over on Jennifer Drive, it was going around it, underneath it, and above it, and completely just, the road is here and the sidewalk was here, and the sidewalk just caved just like that and stopped the water from draining. So the water was no longer leaving, was no longer discharging. This was on Jennifer Drive. Jennifer Drive is over in Mattawoman Woods area, behind where Jameson Court is, behind our wastewater treatment plant. So once it did just like that, stopped the water from discharging, so then the water started to back up. And once it decided that it was going to, the strength of water, go around or go over, it was just like somebody flushed the toilet. The water just went straight away.
In addition to the water coming out of the wastewater treatment plant, a large portion of the storm water falling on Indian Head, in the town of Indian Head, goes through that stream or that waterway that's called Harrison Cut. It comes down from Prospect, comes under the railroad, goes down through across Jenkins and Bland Drive, and beside Higdon's house, down past the wastewater treatment plant, and under Jennifer Drive. That's a 96-inch pipe, an 8-foot diameter pipe that goes under Jennifer Drive. It's an oval pipe, so it's not completely round, but it's a 96-inch wide pipe.